together, get some genuine metrics, things that matter, and once they're all put together, you're going to live in a naturally competitive environment, which is going to increase your testosterone level. It's going to prevent you from doing a lot of dumb shit. And the competition one's great, you know, because you can apply it to everything. I think that getting rich when you're young as a man is probably one of the worst things that can happen. You don't want to get rich to your late 20s. You want to spend all your 20s broke.
Broke and grinding.
Broke, grinding, training. If I had money at 18, 19, I would have skipped so many experiences and so many hard lessons. I'd be a fraction of the man I am today. So I don't like the idea of kids just gambling and getting lucky. Yeah. Now, that's the worst thing that can happen to a young man. He's skipping all the struggle, all the pain and suffering he's going to attempt to skip with money. He's going to end up suffering more in the end, but he's going to just lose, lose, lose. I often see that when I speak to people who are too comfortable, they end up being unhappy.
Yeah.
You can't entertain yourself to happiness. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, creative, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a mathematical equation. You solve the equation, you get a Bitcoin. Life is very much the same. There's struggles, there's difficulties which you have undertaken, which you have adopted to try and complete. And when you finish those things, then you get satisfaction as a reward. That's the Bitcoin. The only other alternative to that, to feel good, is hedonism. And that's not going to satisfy you for very long. And it's also going to destroy your life. So it's extremely important. Masculine competition is fun. I think what's fun as a man is being the best at anything, right? So I live in a very masculine environment because masculine competition drives you forward. We all work together. We all work inside of the company and we're very successful. But yeah, I don't really know what's fun anymore. I just feel like nothing's really fun anymore besides working hard, or you need an activity which is so adrenaline filled that it distracts you, which is why I love driving fast cars and fighting, because it's the only time I'm not thinking about work. Yeah, so I'm happy just to get my work done, and maybe I'm starting to get old after all. I'm 37, I'm getting old. I see my kids, I do my emails, I train hard, maybe go for a drive with the car, maybe get a coffee. That's it. Oh, he doesn't go to the gym because of XYZ, or he feels down. That's fine, but he needs to go to the gym. So we can talk about all the reasons he doesn't go for forever. That's a very long, lifelong conversation, but he needs to go. So we've removed the needs, and we've removed the hard facts and the duty and the honor and the commitments, and we've replaced it all with this subjectiveness. And there's nothing more subjective than feelings. How I feel inside on a day I say I'm happy might be the exact same way someone feels inside on the day they say they're sad, because their expectation might be higher for happy because they only think they're happy when they're running around laughing like a child. I don't really give a shit how the men I know feel, because they have things they need to do. And as long as they're going to do them like they're supposed to do them, I don't really care that much. And if they were to come to me and say they feel down about something and they had a good reason, I wouldn't be insensitive. That's fine. But we're talking about a death of a family member or something, and we're talking about 1 or 2 days until you just get back to life. You have things to do. If you're injecting struggle, and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple, basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, having debates, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her, make sure that your people who you love are taken care of. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well. Because the distance between pain and joy is what we experience. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. Every time you look at something which is fun, it's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Experiences are unique. Jail was a unique experience. Bunch of fun. Unique. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. Now, there are some things that are fun which can be earned. And there are some things which are fun that you could do which perhaps involve skill. Driving a supercar around a racetrack is fun. It involves skill. You have to be good at what you do. Cool. But a lot of this fun that is easily accessible to everyone, because not everybody can get a Ferrari on a closed racetrack. I can. You can't because you're poor. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need hard work.
You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. You need duty, you need obligations, and you need performance metrics. You need people around you who are going to hold you accountable. You're nobodies. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Your obsession with fun is holding you back. These things you think are fun aren't fun.
Action solves all things. Time solves all things. God solves all things. And to sit around and be obsessed with feelings is highly feminine. I don't like that energy around me. If I feel sad, I don't cry. Just get on with life. It's the adult mentality. So I'm not sure. Feelings don't cross my mind, if that makes sense. They don't cross my mind because they don't affect my day. So it doesn't change anything. So I have other things to think about.
People are afraid of accepting there's a problem because then they know they have a responsibility towards fixing it. And they don't want to do anything, one, because they're lazy, and two, because they're afraid they might lose. So they'd rather pretend there's no problem at all. And I think I often say to people in a lot of my videos about a lot of other subjects that it's not always the winning and the losing. It's the fighting in the first place. And there's plenty of men in history you remember who ended up losing in the end. Napoleon, for example, who still fought, which is why they mattered. It's not, if you're only going to fight when you're guaranteed to win, then no bravery is required. And you have to fight so that you can look back on your life and feel happy that you tried to do something when you knew it was going on before it was too late. Forget about the winning and losing for now. Focus on the fight. You must wait for the moment when the opponent's mind is scattered and strike without hesitation. If you do not overcome your tendency to give up so easily, your life will lead to nothing. Objectify your demons so you control them instead of them controlling you. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, especially your impulses, or else you're going to lose yourself. You will only be found by the devil once you are lost, and he will lead you to hell. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by men who kept fighting when there seemed to be no hope at all. That's a good slogan for life. You should wake up, look in the mirror, and say, "Suddenly, the champion returns."
Little bits of feedback, they didn't want to pay attention to them because it was easy and they thought they got away with it. And it's the same with a relationship and the same with everything else. There's little bits of feedback. You go, okay, this is going to be a problem later on if I continue, but they ignore that part. They wait for it all to blow up and go wrong, and then they learn. So men only learn the hard way. And the reason they're sitting at home, even if they don't admit to these ailments, wondering why they're so unhappy all the time, is because you're fighting an internal battle. Your monologue is different in your mind from what your spirit truly wants. You want to be respected, you want to be strong, you want to stand up for what you know is right, you want to be a man, and you're just too afraid to engage the enemy, so you're going to self-destruct, you're going to turn on yourself. There's a fire inside of you. There's a fire inside of absolutely every man, and you can either direct it at your enemy and do your very best to destroy him, or it's going to burn inside of you and eat you alive. You have to make a choice. The cowardice that you feel that prevents you from engaging the enemy is the biggest betrayal, because now you're just engaging yourself. The battle's certain either way. So I strongly recommend you find who the enemy is and direct your efforts towards their destruction, as opposed to sitting there allowing yourself to self-immolate.
This is actually why people are addicted to video games. Young men are addicted to video games because it mimics virtually what they ought to be doing in the real world.
Yeah.
Effort in to upgrade their character to become a better version of themselves so they can do better things than they could previously do and explore new areas of the map. You understand this in video games, and you do it in video games because it's very interesting to do. However, you don't want to do it in the real world. But in the real world, it's so much
abandoned the man he was supposed to become. He followed strategy without soul. He executed plans without purpose. Every goal checked off his list only reminded him how disconnected he had become from his own mission. That's the most dangerous kind of burnout. The one where you succeed in everything except feeling alive. His body was strong, his brand was global, but his heart was flickering out like the final seconds of a dying fire. And he was too proud to admit it. So what did he do? He disappeared, not physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He started pulling away, not from the world, but from himself. He became numb, empty, a shadow wearing a crown. He showed up to meetings with perfect posture and dead eyes. He laughed at jokes that didn't touch him. He trained in the gym like a machine, not because he loved it, but because it was the only place left where pain still felt real. And nobody noticed. That's how twisted this world is. They'll praise your discipline while you rot inside, because no one checks on the strong. No one asks if the king is okay as long as the kingdom runs. But one night everything broke. Not because of a tragedy, not because of a betrayal, but because he finally hit the wall he'd been running from. He sat alone in his mansion, lights dim, silence thick like smoke, and he broke. Not loud, not messy, just a silent implosion. His mind folded in on itself. His body felt heavy, his breathing shallow. He didn't post quotes. He didn't vanish to a jungle retreat to find himself. He didn't call friends to complain. He did something stronger. He chose to return. Not to the old version of himself, but to the warrior he buried under noise and numbers. He started from scratch. Mentally. Not financially. He rewired everything. No more yeses to pointless calls. No more pretending in rooms filled with fake praise. No more running from the pain. He faced it. He dissected it. He welcomed it. Because real power isn't found in comfort. It's reclaimed in the fire. That fire burned off everything fake in his life. The fake connections, the fake drive, the fake identity. What remained was him. And here's what most won't tell you. Burnout isn't weakness. It's a signal. It's your soul screaming through the fog, demanding that you return to your path. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels like collapse, but collapse isn't the end. It's the detonation you need to rebuild correctly. The problem isn't that you're exhausted. It's that you kept quiet for too long. You've silenced your intuition. You've ignored your calling. You've traded meaning for metrics. And that internal war, it's your reminder, a reminder that you are meant for more than just surviving. You are meant to awaken. The man I told you about, he's alive now, not just existing. Not chasing empty wins. He doesn't need applause. He doesn't care about optics. He built a new empire, not just outside, but inside. And his energy is untouchable. Because when a man burns down everything that no longer serves him, he walks through life with a clarity no system can break. That's what you need. Not a break. Not a weekend off, a full mental resurrection, a ruthless reinvention, a complete destruction of the version of you that's settled, compromised, and tolerated. There's no therapy that will fix a life you don't actually want. You have to rebuild it yourself. And you have to do it now. Because every second you spend in silence, every day you delay your alignment, every night you stare at the ceiling wondering what happened to me, is a second stolen by the old life trying to keep you chained. But deep inside you, there's a man waiting. The man who remembers. The man who's tired of pretending. The man who doesn't want naps. He wants revenge on mediocrity. And the second you unlock him, the burnout disappears. Because fire doesn't fatigue. It only grows hotter. Time isn't slipping away, it's sprinting, full speed while you hesitate at the starting line, hoping life will slow down for your comfort. It won't, it never has. And the sickest joke of all, most people don't realize it until the countdown has already hit 0. You think you've got years. You think you've got time to figure it out. You think one more day of drifting won't cost you. But while you're asleep at the wheel, someone else is building, moving, sharpening. The world doesn't pause for your overthinking. Opportunity doesn't knock forever. It walks past the door and never looks back. And the saddest part? You feel it. Not now, not today, but one day that regret will choke you in your sleep and it won't let go. There's a clock in your chest that doesn't tick in seconds. It ticks in choices. Every decision you postpone is a brick you place in your own prison.
Every excuse you defend is another step away from the life that could have been yours. And when that realization slaps you across the face, it won't be gentle. It won't be poetic. It'll feel like drowning in a sea you poured yourself, because nothing stings more than the agony of I could have. And the most dangerous emotion on this planet isn't fear, it's regret. Fear you can fight. Regret you can only remember. People waste their prime pretending they're not ready. They convince themselves they need more knowledge, more preparation, more time. No, you need urgency. You need pain. You need to feel the weight of what you're risking by standing still. Every second you delay is a seed you never plant, a fight you never win, a life you never live. And one day, when you're older, slower, and life has wrung the energy from your bones, you'll look back on these moments, this very moment, and scream internally, why didn't I move when I still had fire in my lungs? The greatest pain isn't failure. It's realizing you never even stepped into the arena. You sat in the stands, watching others bleed, win, rise, fall, while you kept polishing the excuse that you weren't ready. You were always ready. You just chose safety over sovereignty. And now you carry a heavy heart, not because life was unfair, but because you never demanded more from yourself. This world doesn't owe you clarity. It rewards those who walk into the unknown, swinging like demons. Most people think they're waiting for a sign, but the truth is they're avoiding the mirror. They don't want to they become passive participants in their own story, but you're hearing this now because deep down you know you're meant to wake the hell up. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is the signal. If something scares you, it's probably the exact thing that will evolve you. Comfort is the cage. It's the padded room that whispers sweet lies until your potential suffocates in silence. You think staying comfortable protects you. It doesn't. It rots you from the inside. You lose your edge. You dull your instincts. You forget what it feels like to want something with every ounce of your being. And eventually you become like everyone else, smiling, scrolling, slowly decaying while pretending everything's fine. There's a reason you feel disconnected. It's not depression, it's suppression. You're not broken. You're buried. Your mind knows you were meant for chaos, conquest, momentum. You were not designed to be tamed. You were built for storms. But you've silenced your fire for so long, it's turned into smoke. That's why nothing excites you anymore. You've traded the warpath for a waiting room. And now you sit there, numb, anxious, overthinking, because deep down the beast inside is starving. And every time you settle, it screams. The world is moving with or without you. Doors are closing, people are passing you, spots are being filled, and the brutal truth is this: no one is going to pause the game so you can catch your breath. There are men right now who had nothing last year, and now they're running entire empires because they chose to move while others paused. That's how fast it changes. One decision, one shift, one moment of savage clarity, and suddenly you're no longer watching life, you're dominating it. This is your window, not tomorrow, not after your next breakdown, now, while your heart still beats, while your hands still function, while your mind still burns. Because there will come a day when your body can't catch up with your ambition. And on that day, you'll pray for just one more chance to go all in. Don't let that be your story. Don't let the flame flicker out just because it was easier to stay safe. Nothing about greatness is safe. It's war, it's pressure, it's risk. But the alternative? A quiet, comfortable life wrapped in invisible chains. And let me tell you something they'll never teach in school, never say on stage, never post in your feed. Discipline is the cure to fear. Action is the antidote to anxiety. Purpose is the only escape from burnout. You don't need more motivation. You need to go all in. You need to take the leap you've avoided. You need to put your back against the wall and fight like your life depends on it. Because it does. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is your one shot at becoming everything you were born to be. And if you waste it because you let fear win, you will carry that loss in silence for the rest of your days. So don't wait for the right moment. There is no perfect time. There is only now, right here, right in this very breath. The version of you that's tired, scared, burned out, it's not weak, it's dormant. You need to wake him up, shake him violently, drag him back to life with every ounce of power you've got left. Because if you don't, the clock will run out and the world will move on without ever knowing who you could have become. If you're still breathing, you haven't lost. If you've still got blood in your veins, you're not finished. But the problem is, you act like your story's over, like life already judged you and stamped you average. That's the disease. Not poverty, not pain. It's the mindset that whispers it's too late, when in reality, you haven't even scratched the surface of who you're supposed to become. You weren't put here to tiptoe around life, hoping not to break anything. You were put here to set the damn standard. You were put here to make the world flinch when you move. But somewhere along the way, you started playing small, started shrinking, started talking soft and dreaming smaller. You got domesticated. And now you call it maturity. No, it's spiritual decay disguised as wisdom. You're not burnt out because you work hard. You're burnt out because your work has no meaning. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you haven't done anything worth the exhaustion. You wake up, repeat routines you hate, talk to people who don't challenge you, chase goals that don't stretch you, and you wonder why your fire's dying? Wake up. The lion inside you isn't sleeping. He's suffocating. And every time you hit snooze on your potential, you dig the grave deeper. You don't need a break. You need a resurrection. There is a version of you that's built like iron, that doesn't fold under pressure, that doesn't need validation or applause. He doesn't care who's watching. He doesn't care who doubts him. He wakes up ready to outwork every name in the room because he's driven by something deeper than praise. He's driven by self-respect. And he's still there under the weight of your laziness, your distractions, your excuses. The real you hasn't got anywhere. He's waiting for the moment you finally say enough. And when that switch flips, when you stop trying to survive and decide to dominate, you become untouchable.